The year was 1970, and the Boston Garden was packed with 20,000 screaming fans. The air was thick with excitement as the Boston Bruins faced off against the St. Louis Blues in Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Bobby, or already a rising star at just 22 years old, was about to create one of hockey's most unforgettable moments. The score was tied 3-3 in overtime. The tension in the building was at its peak. Orr, wearing his iconic number 4, had already broken records that season with 120 points, a number no defenseman had ever reached before. But what happened next would freeze time itself. Azar sent the puck into the net, winning both the game and the Stanley Cup for Boston. Photographer Ray Lucier captured the famous flying goal. There was Orr suspended in midair, arms raised in victory, his body forming a perfect horizontal line above the ice. This wasn't just a goal, it was the birth of a legend. But behind this single moment lay a mountain of broken records. That season, Orr had shattered the defensive scoring record, led the league in assists, and changed how everyone thought about what a defenseman could do. He wasn't just playing hockey, he was reinventing it. The numbers tell an amazing story. 120 points in a single season, 87 assists, and a plus 54 rating. These weren't just good numbers for a defenseman. They were unheard of. Bobby Orr wasn't following the record books. He was rewriting them entirely. In the years that followed, Orr would go on to break his own records, setting standards that would stand for decades. But it was here, in this perfect moment in 1970, that the hockey world truly understood they were watching someone special. Bobby Orr wasn't just playing the game, he was changing it forever. When Bobby Orr first stepped onto NHL ice in 1966, he was just an 18-year-old kid from Parry Sound, Ontario. But from his first game with the Boston Bruins, everyone knew he was different. The Bruins had finished last the previous season, but Orr brought new energy to the team. Most defensemen back then stayed in their own zone, focusing only on stopping the other team. But Orr changed that rule book. He would grab the puck, skate through entire teams, and create scoring chances. In his rookie season, he scored 13 goals and added 28 assists, numbers that made veterans shake their heads in disbelief. Despite a knee injury in his second season, Orr kept pushing boundaries. He won the Hart Trophy as the league's best rookie, showing everyone this wasn't just beginner's luck. By his third year, he had claimed his first Norris Trophy as the NHL's best defenseman, marking the start of an 8-year winning streak that still stands today. These early seasons weren't just about personal success. Orr transformed the Bruins from league bottom dwellers into serious contenders. His speed, skill, and hockey sense brought fans to their feet and changed how teams looked at young defensemen. Every time he touched the puck, the crowd would lean forward, knowing something special might happen. By 1968, Orr had already set new scoring records for defensemen, proving that playing defense didn't mean you couldn't be a scoring threat. He wasn't just playing well, he was showing everyone a new way to play hockey. Bobby Orr's peak seasons redefined what was possible in hockey. In 1969-70, he became the first defenseman ever to win the Hart Trophy as the NHL's scoring champion with 120 points. This wasn't just breaking a record, it was shattering what people thought possible for a defenseman. The 1970-71 season saw Orr reach even greater heights. He scored 139 points, a record for defensemen that stood for decades. His plus 124 plus minus rating that season remains an NHL record that many believe will never be broken. Think about that. He was on the ice for 124 more goals scored than allowed. During these years, Orr collected every major NHL award. He won the Hart Trophy as MVP, the Norris Trophy as Best Defenseman, the Art Ross as Scoring Champion, and the Conn Smythe as Playoff MVP. No defenseman had ever dominated the game so completely. The Bruins became an unstoppable force with or leading the charge. He controlled games from start to finish, creating plays that left fans and players alike in awe. His end-to-end rushes became legendary, as he would start from behind his own net, weave through the entire opposing team, and either score or set up a teammate. These seasons weren't just about personal achievement. They changed hockey forever, or proved that defensemen could be offensive stars, leading to a complete rethinking of how teams developed and used their defenders. His combination of defensive skill and offensive creativity made him not just the best defenseman, but often the best player on the ice. The 1970-71 season stands as Bobby Orr's statistical masterpiece. His 139 points, 37 goals, 102 assists set a new standard for defensemen, a record that seemed unbreakable at the time. More impressive was his plus 124 plus minus rating, which remains an NHL record over 50 years later. In a single game against the Vancouver Canucks, Orr scored 3 goals and added 4 assists, showing how one defenseman could control an entire game. He averaged nearly 2 points per game, unheard of for any player, let alone a defenseman. His ice time often exceeded 35 minutes per game, and he seemed tireless. The Bruins dominated that season, setting a team record with 121 points in the standings. Orr's presence made everyone better. Forwards knew if they got open, he'd find them with a perfect pass. Opposing teams started designing specific strategies just to contain him, but even then, he'd find ways to impact the game. Despite constant attention from opponents, Orr played with remarkable consistency. He scored points in 51 consecutive games, another record that highlighted his ability to influence every match. Even when teams focused entirely on stopping him, Orr's hockey sense and skill prevailed. This season represented the perfect blend of Orr's offensive creativity and defensive excellence. While his scoring grabbed headlines, he remained an elite defender, using his speed and anticipation to break up plays before they developed. The 1970-71 season wasn't just about numbers. It was about one player showing the complete potential of what a hockey player could be. Bobby Orr's impact on hockey stretches far beyond his playing days. He turned defensemen from purely defensive players into potential offensive stars. Before Orr, defensemen rarely joined the rush. After him, coaches actively looked for defenders who could score and create plays. His skating style and puck-handling skills became a model for future players. Modern defensemen like Erik Karlsson and Victor Hedman point to Orr as their inspiration. His ability to control games from the blue line created a new template for how teams build their defense. Orr's records speak volumes. His 8 straight Norris Trophies showed unmatched excellence. While some of his records have been broken, his impact on the position remains unmatched. He was the first defenseman to score more than 100 points in a season, something that seemed impossible before him. Many hockey experts consider Orr's influence on the game as significant as Wayne Gretzky's. He didn't just excel within the existing system. He created a new way to play. His end-to-end rushes and offensive instincts from the defensive position changed hockey's strategic approach forever. Today's NHL features defensemen who regularly contribute to scoring, a direct result of Orr's innovation. Teams now draft and develop defensemen with offensive skills, knowing that a two-way defender can change a team's fortunes. This evolution of the position stands as Bobby Orr's lasting legacy to hockey. The famous flying goal scene of 1970 became more than just a moment. It became a symbol of Bobby Orr's revolutionary impact on hockey. That single photo captured everything special about his career: the athleticism, the dramatic flair, and the ability to rise above in the biggest moments. Looking back, Orr's numbers still amaze. 915 points in just 657 games, 8 straight Norris Trophies, 3 straight Hart Trophies, and 2 Stanley Cups. But more than statistics, he changed hockey's DNA. He showed that a defenseman could be a team's best player and biggest star. Modern NHL stars often share stories of watching older footage, studying his moves, and trying to copy his style. His influence lives on in every defenseman who jumps into the rush or leads a power play. Even as the game gets faster and more skilled, Orr's impact remains clear. The closing image returns us to that famous goal, Orr flying through the air, arms raised in triumph. It perfectly captures what made him special: the ability to make the impossible look easy, to turn defense into offense, and to lift an entire sport to new heights. Bobby Orr didn't just play hockey, he reimagined what the game could be.